who are attending with us.
Okay, so hello everyone again, and today we are going to start with the real application or project we're aim to have. So what I will explain now are practical steps on how to prepare our environment. First thing I would talk about is what is the project we're just starting to be implementing. As we have discussed later, we need to have a project or a model that can interpret the sign language, the language that is used in order to help the people with problems in seeing, in hearing. So we have what is called the sign language. We have different languages regarding the sign language, but our project will be aimed around the English or the American Sign Language, which we can build in or build our project on, and then we can just customize if we want to another sign language with different languages. So what do we need in order to start such a project? We would need a lot of things. We have discussed some of them, and now we're going to discuss the other things. So let me show you in brief what are the main steps. And of course, these steps will include different additional steps. Let me show you these steps. So our target is to create. Again, the target is creating a model that can translate or interpret sign up language. So what we need to do that is to have a model that can understand the signs by the people who are talking or presenting, that they are using their hands in order to help people that cannot have the ability to hear what's being said. So instead of that, we will be using the sign language, which will be coming in videos. So how do we approach such solution? We will need, the first thing we will need to do is to have a model that can understand, or that we will teach to understand, the languages or the letters or the words that are being said between quotations or shown by hands for the people who cannot hear. So we will need to have videos that show the sign languages for that. Let me just show you a brief example about that, and let me know if you can see or share. You see my shared screen when it starts. Okay, so here is a video that I have taken from YouTube that shows or explains the letters and the language of sign. So let's see, when I added this video to the video indexer, what it did with it, or what did it extract from that. And I would like to hear some discussions with you regarding that. So I will see the results of this video. I'll press on that. And here, as you can see, I will let it play. So here you can see that it started explaining the alphabetics. See the letter A, letter B, letter C. And let me just roll on the video and we'll chat about that when it finishes. So I will not just roll on the whole video, but as you can see on this video, that it is just explaining the letters. To come to the output or to the insights that the default settings of Video Indexer had, let's see what did it include or what did it exclude from this video. So as you can see, these are the insights of the video coming, or the results of the indexing of this video. As you can see, most of the things are general. We do not have like an explanation of the letters that are being presented by this video. All it extracted was things that are mostly general without any briefing or explanations of these letters. Why is that? Because this video indexer model just extracts main things that are in the models that it is trained on. So may I hear from you, what is the main problem or how we can approach? Why is it not extracting the alphabetics from this video? Can you share me your ideas, please? If you like on the chat, or if you like to open your microphone, it's fine. It was not trained exactly. So the first thing we would like to have is to get the data for the model that we are going to train on. So we would need data. What would this data include? This data would include videos related to sign language, which means that I would need to have a video plus, let me drop it on the Dropbox, on the chat box, plus notations. So these videos, it's not just videos, it needs some videos with notations. What are these notations? These are files, different type text files that explains the videos that are being shown to us. So the first thing is that I need is a group or groups of data sets, which are in our case videos about the sign language. In addition to these videos, are these videos alone enough? No, these videos alone are not enough. We would need to have what is called the notations or labeling. We can do that manually, or we can get a data set with notations ready for us. So if we would like to have this manually, we would need to have a video running and clip this video into different parts, explaining each part that is being explained. Let me get back to the example here. So if I'm talking about letter A, I should do something like cutting the video into a part explaining the letter A, which is, I guess, this is the first letter. So I would need to start. This is the letter A. So I would need to have this part explaining the letter A made into a clip and adding a file that is adjacent to this video explaining this letter. So when the model starts training, it will see the video using the using the cognitive services, which is seeing the letter. In addition to that, I would tell it that this letter, it means the letter A. The same with letter B, the same with letter C, the same with letter D, into the whole letters. In addition to that, I would need to have something like the words, something like phrases. So I would need to have a huge data set that includes most of the signs or all of the signs that are being used within this sign language model. So in addition to these videos, I would need to have a data set for the notations or for the explanation of each video clip. So this is the most important thing, which is the data. So let me just open this file to show you what I'm talking about. So what I need is to download and label a data set, which means that I would need to have like the resource that was shared with us by Solange. She shared us like 5 gigabytes of videos related to sign language. What we need in addition to that is a file that is called the notation file that includes the information that are explaining these signs. So how can I do that? I can do it manually by running the videos and adding the files or the CSV files or JSON files that explains these videos. So this is the first thing I would need to do, is to download and label the dataset. Instead of downloading and labeling a data set, I might find on some resources a data set that includes the videos plus the notations for them. How can I do that? I would need to go with the resources on the internet. During the search, I found a repository on something called the GitHub. Let me explain the GitHub to you first in order to know what I'm talking about. So what is the GitHub? GitHub, if we go and just press on a new window, okay, and type GitHub, okay, this is the GitHub. I have a lot of things. I would explain to you what is GitHub. Just give me a second. What is the GitHub? Okay. GitHub is a platform that helps people work together. This is first thing, and includes a lot of repositories that include a lot of files that are related to different projects. So if I'm looking for a data set and I know that there is a data set on GitHub for what I'm talking about, which is the sign up language, let me just show you how to find that. Okay, sign up. I always say sign up. I'm used to that. Sign language data set. I'm using Google in order to find something related to data sets, and it automatically added what's called the GitHub. As you can see here, I have different sources related to that. The resource I'm going to talk about or to use today is called the, let me show that to you. It's called the WLASL, which is the World Level Deep Sign Language Recognition Videos. So this is a repository that includes tons of videos that I might see. So if I just add here WLASL, I found it on the search. It will take me to this repository, which includes what I was talking about. So what is the first step you would need to have to know is to know what is GitHub. As you can see here, this is the project. It includes all the repositories, all the applications or the Python templates or codes I would need to use within this project. I will tell you where and how to use this, so do not worry. So my first thing is the repository. Now I have this repository and I have it ready. All I need to do is start the project of extracting the information or creating the model based on these data sets that are ready for me in order to use within that project I'm talking about. So what is the first step you should do? Let me drop that to you, is to create an account, which by typing here, sign up, and you sign up and you join GitHub in order to have your account ready. Of course, you can access free resources without having to just make a registration. But if you need to work together, this solution gives you the ability to create a group, and this is something we should be using, is to have our own accounts created, and then later we're going to use like a group within this GitHub in order to share our information and share our progress or maybe data or maybe codes we are going to use. So the first thing you should start with is creating an account with GitHub. So when you create an account with GitHub, you can access all the information related to our project. As you can see here, it is explaining what is the WLASL, which is a large-scale data set of world-level American Sign Language, okay? This repository includes all I need regarding to having a video with notation. So I have like 20,000 or 21,000 videos here prepared with the notations or with the explanations that I would need to use. So this is the data that I want. Okay, this is the first thing, and this is the data that I want. Okay, any questions before I proceed? So please create a GitHub account. So this is the first thing we need. So, and I will drop to you also the resource related to this repository. You can start it or you can access it without the need of this account, but this account we will be using later. So this is the first thing. So this is the first thing required for that. The second thing is that we need to have some Azure resources like configuring custom vision and the storage account and a video indexer in Azure. We know how to create these resources, but I will go through again through that in order to prepare you to do that. In order to make things easier for you, I will open the Azure account. So the next step would be creating the resources for Azure. What are the resources that we would need? We will need custom vision, we will need a storage account, and we will need also a video indexer in Azure. I guess you all created your video indexer account, but again, we would need to make sure that we have our video indexer account. This is my video indexer account. All I did was to go to videoindexer.ai. I will show you the steps again. And here you would log in with the credentials that you have within your Azure environment. So you select Microsoft Entra ID and you log in here with the username and the password you have for your Azure account. So I would select that here and go to this, and it will send me a notification on my phone. I will approve it and I will reach here because I already have the account. It will show me my account settings, my account status. If you can, please follow up or follow on with me and let me know the result of this. If your accounts are ready, just let's have a quick review and make sure that we have access to Azure accounts, and let me know on the chat box. Okay? If you can do that quickly, just make sure that you can access the video indexer. I will send you the URL of the video indexer on the chat. Okay, this is the next step. So now I must have an account on Azure Video Indexer. Then I would go to Azure Portal. I make sure that I have access to my account. My account is ready. Then I would go and log with the credentials that I have here within my Azure environment, within Video Indexer, and make sure that I have access to that and that it shows here the same storage accounts and the same details that I have created within Azure. If you remember, this is what we did last time, okay? So just one or two of you, just make sure that you are on the same steps with me, or if you like, all of you to just make sure that you are online with me and everything is going well through these steps. So I would like you now to get to Azure, log into Azure from your own computers, make sure that you have the ability to log in, and I don't know if you have created the resources that are needed. The resources that we need are Azure. First thing is a resource group. Create a resource group for this project. Just call it, I don't know what you like to call it, WASL, let's say 2024. November. Let's do that. If you like to call this, then create inside this resource group a storage account. Okay. As you can see here, this is what we did last time. Let me show that to you. If you can see that I have the resource groups that includes all my related resources, and I have created the video indexer storage. This is the video indexer storage. So please let me know, is everything related to these steps is clear for you? I will send you files that include all the steps that you want to do and prepare for our upcoming sessions. So I will send you resources. But until now, just all of you make sure that you have access to Azure and you have your own video indexer account ready and everything is fine for you. And after that, after you send me a yes on the chat box, I would move to the next step. Okay? Just let me make sure that you are aligned with me on these steps. I will give you like 3 minutes to make sure that you all can access the Azure. Okay, and the video indexer. Making sure that your Azure account is aligned or showing that on the video indexer, that you have the same account on your video indexer. And this is, as you can see, this is my name, and this is on Azure, my name. The same are here used, okay? So the resources that we need, firstly, is a resource group that will include all the services we're going to create. Then we're going to create some resources like custom vision, storage account, and video indexer in Azure. So we know how to create the resource group. If you have any issues creating any of the resources, all you need to do is to press on create a resource, start with the first thing, which is the resource group. It will show to you here, and all you need to create is create a resource group, and you give it a name, a unique name under the subscription that you have, and the location that you would select. And as I told you, select the nearest location to you, okay? Select the nearest location to you. Here is how I create a resource group. I would give it a name and I will press on review and create, and it will show to me here. So these are basic things that we have already learned. What I aim from this today is to have this account here ready as the one on the Azure that you have been using. So please let me know if you are good with that so I can proceed to the next thing that I would like to tell you about, okay? In order to today to cover all the preparation for our computers, we still have to do a bit of things. So let me make sure that everything here is okay before I move to the next thing. I don't see anything on the chat. Okay.
Amazing, Khalid. So I guess we can proceed as they also did the same lab and they confirmed that they did it last time.
Okay, that's great. Now, what else do we need on our computers? We need an environment that will help us perform the tasks that we need. What is the environment? We need to have some language that we are going to use. The preferred language that I like to use is the Python. So I would need to have the Python ready on my computer. I would need something else, which is, let me type them, Python environment. This is one thing. I would need to get this information or to download this information. How I do get this, I would need to have what is called the Git, which is something I would need to use. Also, I would need to have a place where I can type and just write codes for my environment. How can I do that? You have different options in order to do that. But what I'm going to use today, which is called an environment, which is called the VS Code. Okay, VS Code. VS Code is a light version of Visual Studio that is free and that is very powerful code editor. It is developed by Microsoft and it's widely used by programmers and developers in order to support different programming languages. It has a lot of features that I might use. One of these features, which is the GET integration, which I can use in order to import my information from different repositories. What we're talking about here, which is the GitHub repository. So I would need to have the VS Code installed on my computer in order to have access to the files that are in the repository I was talking about. So I would need to download the VS Code. So where can I download the VS Code from? Okay. The first step is to download the VS Code. I will drop that for you on the chat. Okay. This is the VS Code. I would go back to the page of the installation or the download page. This is the VS Code. Please go ahead. And here I would select download for Windows. As you can see, it will start downloading. It's about 98 megabytes. I already downloaded that and I have it, but let me show you the steps of installation. After you download the the VS Code, you will have it running. I will keep it running on the background and I will go with the VS Code environment. I am opening the VS Code. Let me just bring it here to you. Okay, this is the VS Code. So what is the VS Code? As I told you, the VS Code is an environment that will help me start working with the projects I'm talking about. Here I can get the repositories that I want. After I install it on my computer, I can run it. So after I run it, I would need also to download the GET, what is called the GET. How can I download the GET? What is the GET? GET is like a version control application that will help me download things from any repository. So the next step, which would be, is getting the GET. Here I will send you, this is the page of the GET also, as you can see here. I will send it on the chat box. Can we use what? Let me see. PyCharm. I don't know if PyCharm has all the features. If you have already used it and if you can use the get and download whatever, so then it's no problem with me. You can do that all together, decide that based on the groups that you build and see if you are good with that and you can do what I'm going to explain. Well, that suits me. Okay, I have no problem with that. So whenever you get to use any of the interfaces, it's up to you. I don't have any problem with that. So let me drop to you on the chat. This is the get. All you need to do is press on it and it will take you to the screen of the download. And this is the screen of the download. Okay. And here you go to the downloads and download it and just follow on the installation without any customization. Just make it easy for you. And whenever you are done doing that, you can just get back here and see that you have the environment ready for you. And still, if you like to add some extensions, you need to add different things. All you need to do is here to go to the extensions part. Here, you might search for different extensions. Here, you can add any extensions that you want. Like, let's say I'm talking about Python. All I need to do is type Python here, and I can find a large library for Python files that I might be using within my environment. As you can see here, Python, I have a lot of Python debuggers around here. Python for VS Code. I have Python extension pack. I have whatever I want from these. So if I get back to the repository that I was talking about here, as you can see here, this is the repository. All I need to do is to read some files and it will tell me what to do. Here it's asking me to download the repository files. Okay, get clone. I can use this command and in the VS Code. But before I start working with that, let me make sure that you are understanding what I did. Are you aligned with me again? Please let me know if everything is clear, so I would move to the next steps. Okay. More yeses, please. If everything is clear to you, it's just perfect. That's great. Now, what I need to do is to start, after I prepared my environment, the VS Code. Let me make sure that everything that I want from the VS Code is installed. So the first thing is I downloaded the VS Code. The next thing is that I downloaded the Git from the Git website. Okay, let me just make sure here that I have my terminal ready. This is my terminal. Here I can see start a new text file or open a folder after I download it. If I need to go to terminal, I would press on terminal and I press on new terminal. What is the terminal? It's the place where I can run the codes that I want. So this is the place where I can just make sure that all my commands will be going through. So after that, I would need to make sure that I have all the extensions that I need. I will install the GitHub extension. Okay. Extensions for also I would need some resources or extensions for Azure. Okay, I will press on Azure. I will send you these steps on the chat, all the things that you want. These are the extensions that are needed. I already dropped on the chat. Okay, So I would need to have, here I search for Azure tools. As you can see, I have Azure storage. I need the Azure storage. I need the Azure account, and I need the Azure function. So here is the Azure storage. I press on install. Azure account is already installed. I already installed that. And I need Azure functions. And I will press on install. Okay. After this finishes, I would like to know if my Python is ready and it will be working. How can I do that? All I need to do is to just, as a test, I would like to write a new file, select a new file. And as you can see here, since Python is installed, it is giving me the option to start a new Python file. So I am good to go with that. Okay. Here, if I go back to the main page, to the Explorer, okay, as you can see here, I have the options that allows me to clone a repository or to open a folder or to create a Java project. Let me open, try to, as you can see here, clone from GitHub. It's already there. Let me move this for you to be clear. As you can see, clone a repository. What is the repository I want to clone? The repository I want to clone is this one that I have on my I will select this one, Control C, and get a clone the repository. And I would press here the paste and select clone from GitHub. It will ask me to select a local folder where I would like to have this repository installed. I will select a new folder and call it WASL repo. Okay. I would select this. So as you can see here, it's now cloning this repository. Let me ask you now, I have a question for you. It is now cloning this repository. What does this mean? What is being done now? Can someone explain to me? Please don't be shy. If you like to open your microphone. Yes, copying the files that are related to this project into this folder. So I can open this folder after it is done installing. I will be able to access the files that are here in order to just start working with them. So now, is it downloading the videos for this project? If you remember, I was talking about a group of videos which are around 21,000 videos. No, it's not downloading these files. It is just downloading the programmable files or the files that I would use within my project. So why did it install some of the extensions that I will be using? It used like some of the files that I will be downloading or using these commands. As you can see here, download the repository. Then after that, you would need to install YouTube-DL. What does this do? It is for downloading the YouTube files these are the data the video data that I would need to be using. If I know, so this is a tool that I will be using in order to download the data sets that I want. So the first thing I did is prepared my computer by installing the Visual Studio Code and installing the Python. We will see where we are going to use this Python later. Then now I would be downloading the files from YouTube. Since these files are a lot of files and we have dozens of URLs, I would need a tool that will help me installing or downloading these files. All I need to do is to use this YouTube-DL tool in order to help me download these data sets. After these data sets are within my environment, I can extract some videos using this command, and I can just start running my model training. So these are the main steps. We will go deeper into that. But let's just understand some of the files that we are going to be using. As you can see here, we have different types of files. The files that will be as JSON files, these files are the files that will be including the notations I was talking about. Don't get confused. Today we are just preparing the environment. In the next session, I would be preparing the other steps and see the data sets. What I'm expecting is to have a group of videos, a bunch of files of videos, plus, this is a very important thing, a JSON file that describes these videos or that describes the contents of these videos. This file can be a JSON file or maybe a CSV file. It's the same for me. But what am I going to use these files for? I'm going to use these files to feed them to the model. Just 1 minute. I'm sorry about the noise. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Khaled, we cannot hear any noise actually.
That's great. So, as I told you again, then we will be downloading these videos. We will be downloading these videos using this tool. Let's just see. After I finish, I will be checking on the VS Code if it's ready. After we download these files, we would be seeing, still not hearing anything?
Yeah, don't worry. Noise cancellation is doing a great job.
It's very great, but not for me. So after that, we will be having also a notation file, and as I told you in JSON, that will explain the videos. This video, like 60, let's say it's a 60-second video, adjacently to this 60 minutes or 60 seconds video, I have a file explaining the contents for that video. These are the sources that I'm going to use in order to feed to the machine learning cognitive service that will be learning on these videos. After I upload all these videos with these notations, and this will be going through using the Python to the machine learning service that I have created within Azure. So the system or the system will start learning. Because we have big data, it might take some time learning. After that, the system is being learned or finishes the learning, I can just test it and start extracting videos related to that. So as I told you, these are the main steps. Let me get back to here, just data explanation of the files that we are going to use. As you can see here, we have a lot of things. Data is structured. Bbox, don't worry about the frames per second. This is related to the videos. So don't worry about these details. We're going to see each and every one of these. After that, we're going to start with the training and testing for this model. And as you can see here, we have some steps that we're going to explain. As you can see here, we have a lot of codes, a lot of things related to what we are expecting. So let me get back to the VS Code and see if it finishes. Yes, it finished cloning the repository. I would ask it to open this file. The link for what, dear? Copying files from GitHub. Muhammad, what the GitHub page you just mentioned? I already sent that, but I will send it again. But let me just finish this step. Now, if you can see, I maybe you might not find all these because maybe I just imported many times. You can see a lot of files here. But anyway, these are the files that I'm going to use within my environment in order to start the project. So now my environment is ready. I need to just repeat the steps that you should prepare for the next time. Let me go through that again. But first, let me just finish Mr. Muhammad's request, which is the GitHub repository. Okay. Okay. I will also share with you different files related to the steps you should perform. But again, let's summarize the steps we need to have. The first thing is that we should prepare our Azure environment, prepare a resource group, and prepare a storage. This is something you can just view the videos that before this one. After that, you need to prepare your own computers with Visual Studio, with the Git, and with the extensions that I mentioned on the Visual Studio Code. So again, these are the extensions I told you about. I sent you. We need to have different extensions. I sent that to you. We have to have the Python extension. We need to have the Azure extensions, which are the Azure account, Azure storage, and Azure functions. Okay, these are the things that you should prepare yourselves with. So after that, now I have my environment almost ready. Where do I add the extensions? After I get VS Code, I press on here. If I need to access any of the commands that I want, as you can see here, these are the repository that I have cloned. And if I need to use the terminal, which we will be using a lot within our exercises or within our project, here I would go, this is the place where I can use the terminal. So again, as a last time repetition, prepare the Azure environments, prepare the VS Code, and get the repository cloned into your computers. Let me just share with you these files. In a second, I will be sharing everything with you. These files will guide you through the process. Let me just bring it here and start dropping these files for you. I have I want to show, not this one I want to share with you. So the VS Code steps, so you don't get confused. And I have the GitHub. These are the steps you should have, the VS Code. And if you like to get about the GitHub, I have some information, not a lot of these.
Khalid, someone wrote on the WhatsApp, do we know how to connect Azure resource to a local storage?
Yes, we will do that. Of course, we will be using the ID when we create the resource. Just
Okay,
be
so I will
patient.
tell
This is,
him attend the upcoming sessions.
yes, this is the next thing we are going to do. And it's like an excellent question, but this is the next thing we are going to do on the next session. So let me brief you on this 3 minutes, what we are going to do on the next session. On the next session, we will be creating or connecting the Azure storage that we have created, and we will be connecting the cognitive service that we have also created within our solution that we have now in the VS Code. That's why I have just included these extensions related to Azure. If you can see here, I have different Azure. This one, let me just type just Azure. Here I have the Azure functions. Where is the Azure account? This is where I add or connect my account to the environment I'm working with. I also have Azure Storage, which also I will connect the storage to the applications or to the Python codes I'm going to use. And we also have a lot of other resources that we should connect Azure with the environment. So how it will know where to get this information or where to add these files, all I need to do is from the Azure environment that I have created. Where is my Azure? This is the Azure. If I have like this resource that I have created, I would go with the settings of these, or I can get some information and use them here and connecting my resources to each other or to the VS Code environment I'm going to be using. Okay?
Okay, can we summarize in like 2 minutes what we did so far in this session?
Sure.
Beside, okay, we went to the GitHub, we created an account. What else we did?
The first thing was, let me show you that, and I have already
So the video
summarized them.
indexer, it's fine. We know about
Okay.
it. The environment, preparing the environment, which is downloading Python, downloading
So,
VS Code, the Git. Yeah, please.
so the first thing was preparing the environment in Azure to work on a systemic way or in a sequence. The first thing we need to do is to make sure that we have our Azure account ready and active and under a subscription. The next step is to create the Azure Index account. The third step is to prepare our computer in order to start working on the environment. How do we prepare our computer? The first thing is to install the VS Code, then install the Get. After that, get to install the extensions that I would need to use in order to be able to use the first thing I installed, which is the Python, and use the Get to download the repository. Third thing I used is to install that I installed the extensions that are related to Azure. These extensions, the Azure account and the Azure functions, I will be using in order to connect the codings or the files or the applications I will be using within this project in order to connect to the environment resources or the Azure resources that I have created, or the resources I will be creating later, that like the media resource. So this is in brief. So please, before we log out, let me open again the chat with you. Please just tell me, is every step I did clear today? Because I would truly want you to just start working and drop any question at any time on the
Khalid,
WhatsApp. Don't, yes,
can you put all of this, because this is really informative, in a Word document and maybe post it for them on the WhatsApp? And then,
sure,
as we
sure,
did
sure.
last time, we will consider this lab 2 and we will check who did lab 2. So in this
Okay.
way, we can track them whether they are doing the labs properly or no. And thank
Yeah,
you
yeah,
for all the support.
no problem. This is for on their sake. That's what I want them to do. Just be cooperative, collaborate together. And again, I would tell you, don't be shy asking any question, even if it is like an alphabet A question. Don't be shy. Let me help you to get the most of this course. I want you to create magnificent projects. So do not be shy. Ask me at any time. I'm always on. I'm always working. Don't be shy at all. Whatever time you want to ask, I might open a private session with any of you and repeat anything that you want to be explained again. Okay? I would be sending the files that Solange asked for, like step-by-step guide for every step that you need to do. Okay? That's great. So I guess will be here ready on the next time on Wednesday, the same time. Do any of you have any problems with the timing? Is it suitable for everyone? That's great. In case any of you have any problem related to time, please send us a note on the group, and we will see how to fix things. But if you are good and all well with the timing, then that's not an issue. So I guess it's time to end today's session. Thank you for attending, and please just perform the steps in order to have like a good project and finalize it all together. Anything to add, Solange? Anything to add from anyone? Okay, thank you everybody, and see you next time. Goodbye.